Given that we have a product rule, it shouldn't be too surprising that we have its sibling, the quotient rule, or the fraction rule. Let's have a look at that now. So where with the product rule, we were trying to calculate the derivative of w times z, here we're trying to calculate the derivative of w divided by z with the quotient rule, which is also known as the fraction rule. In some ways, it's quite similar to the product rule, where we split up the variables so that we calculate dw dx and dz dx separately, and then multiply those derivatives by the non-differentiated z and w. However, with the product rule, remember we were adding. With the quotient rule, we're subtracting. And then on top of that, there's the added twist that all of that is just the numerator, and we need to divide by z squared. The quotient rule comes in handy in the same kinds of situations as the product rule. For example, when calculating the derivative of w divided by z is tricky. Yet again, now let's look at the quotient rule with some numbers in order to really make these concepts concrete. So let's say we have y is equal to 4x squared divided by x cubed plus 1. Well, we can split this up into w on the top, 4x squared, and z on the bottom, x cubed plus 1. Now, it's pretty straightforward using the power rule and the constant power rule to calculate the derivatives of w and x. So for w, 4x squared comes out to 8x, and the derivative of z comes out to 3x squared. We can ignore this constant here. That just becomes 0. Now that we have dw dx and dz dx, we can calculate the derivative of y. So the derivative of y is equal to the derivative of w divided by z. And we can now use this formula here and just plug in all of the numbers. So z, z, dw dx, dw dx, w, w, dz dx, dz dx. And then in the denominator, we have z squared, so grab z and square it. This is a fine answer in and of itself, but we can also try simplifying a bit by multiplying terms where possible. So for example, here we have 4x squared times 3x squared, which can simplify to 12x to the power of 4. Don't forget that negative sign. And likewise, we can multiply 8x by both x cubed as well as plus 1, giving us 8x to the power of 4 and 8x respectively. If you want to, you can multiply out the denominator, but it doesn't really get too much simpler, so I just left that as is. As a final step, you can simplify the numerator here because we have x to the power of 4 in two different terms. So 8x to the power of 4 minus 12x to the power of 4 gives us negative 4x to the power of 4. And this here is the final answer.